Hey everyone, welcome back to Chaitaku. Hope you guys are all well. This is going to be a brand new style of episode I'm going to be messing about with. I'm going to be calling it Chaitaku after hour midnight tea, because I'm going to be talking about some subjects that I wouldn't normally talk about on the podcast. It's not usually something on brand for the channel, but I just thought it's something that I'm interested in, and I think it is something that is good to talk about, and it does obviously involve Chaitaku and my type of passions and interests in different ways. So it's not really about film or comics or anything like that, but it is kind of affecting us at a level which I think needs to be discussed. All right, so it's just a taste, a bit of a test to see, but it's something I want to talk about, and I thought we definitely need to explore a little bit more. Before we get into it, we can be joined by my good friend John, who's a regular on the podcast. Say hello, John.
Hi, glad to be back.
Yeah, always good to have John back. And hope you are well, and hope you are healing as well. Obviously, if you listen to the last Mortal Kombat one, John got into a little bit of incident where he is healing with his leg. How's it feeling now, John?
Slow progress, but we're getting there.
Good. All right. That's good to hear. And I have seen John a few times and it is getting better and stronger. So that's really good. Hopefully we can do a face-to-face one. Other day I did do a video recording with my good friend Alon, which hopefully you might have seen, or it might be up on the channel right now, or it might not be out yet. If not, but that's going to be the first one for the Chaitaku YouTube channel. So look out for that one. And again, that's something that I want to move into more as well. This is going to be an audio one, but hopefully when I get a chance to, we're going to graduate to more towards video recording and YouTube. I might even put this one up on YouTube just as the audio, but it's something else I want to be testing out as well. It's going to be a brand new era for Chaitaku, and I think it's really important to grow. And I think definitely moving on to YouTube and Instagram and doing live streaming, that kind of stuff is definitely important. So we're going to be moving on to that. And this is just, again, another offshoot of that, which is just talking about different things, not usually on the channel. Right then. So what is the purpose of today's talk? Well, it's something that me and John talk about a lot. And I think it definitely needs to be explored. We're talking about AI. All right. And if you don't know what AI is, you must have seen it. You must have heard a bit about it. You must know that it's out there. I think John is way more knowledgeable than I am in this subject, but it's definitely something to talk about. Why? Because at the moment, especially coming from my and John's perspective, it is quite damaging. It's quite surreal, and it's quite crazy in what's going on there. And especially as artists, John and myself are creatives. We draw, we do a lot of creativity and produce a lot of things. And AI is infringing on that department, not in a good way. Even though whatever you've heard out there, you have to be very well aware that it's not all great, even though it kind of looks like that on the surface. John's going to explain a little bit more about it. John, before you start, what are we drinking today?
It's a regular coffee for me today, as I need to wake up.
That's good. Well, thank you very much anyway, John, for coming. But yeah, please do elaborate a little bit more on AI, especially for those people that don't really know too much about it. AI obviously it's just gone wild. John, tell us a little bit about your stance on it and why you think it's important to discuss it.
Well, I mean, AI and or machine learning, if you like, have been coming through in many industries for like the last 20 years now.
It has, yeah.
Accelerated process. It's all in the algorithms that shape our social medias and all that. And that was kind of like a sinister beast that has only just sort of snuck up on people now, where people are like, hold on, this really has a grip on what I view and what I am into and stuff like that. So I kind of see that as generation 1 AI, and I think what is now taking hold is this sort of new era of AI, and it might have been something we didn't focus on too much or just saw us come in and laughed about. But of course, surprisingly, I think to a lot of people in the creative scene, an area where it's always been about the value of talent and people's ability, is when this AI started to infringe on the art world and the creation of images in particular.
That's something that we definitely need to be talking about. So artificial intelligence, as John said, it's been around for ages. A very positive impact it was making, and it can make, especially with lots of other industries. It's very important that, this is a tool to use in a positive manner. But I think now, as John said, it's gotten quite sinister in the sense that it is taken over to an extent where it is hurting industries, it's hurting creatives.
Yeah, I think it came onto our radar when all these, basically a whole host of images started to emerge and very quickly became very good, fully rendered images. I think that's when people started to take note of it for the first time, outside of those who were already very aware of it. And it quickly became apparent that this was going to be able to rival the work of the best artists, digital artists in particular, on the planet. And it was only just beginning. And people used to mock the things it couldn't do, but that's quickly changed with each passing month. Fast forward from people laughing about it to a period where it's now going up in lawsuits and companies are starting to adopt it. For me, I want to just talk about the sort of human impact that it's going to have, less than the where the tech's going. It's obvious where the tech's going for me, but I think it brings up just so many interesting questions for creatives, for schooling, for hobbyists even. It's a very strange time for those who basically base their life and their whole, one of their main purposes for existing was to create and do stuff, and now you have something that can just do it for you. It's a very strange time, I feel.
Yeah, it totally is. It's infringing a lot now, and it's moving at such a rapid pace. So now these days, you can use, there's loads of tools, loads of apps you can get stuff on your phone free. You can pay a little bit of a charge, and it will literally create for you you ask for, to not even like a okay extent. It will do a supreme version of something. It will look professional. And obviously, if you don't know, artificial intelligence, all these tools and apps, when they create something, it's taking on board other people's work to create something new. So this is the other factor, is what's being fed into the machine is work of millions of other artists to create something for whoever asked for it. So that's another issue, is so it creates something, but it's not randomly creating it from scratch. It's creating it using the foundation of all loads of artists around the world. And then these
Yeah.
apps are taking those images legally,
And
illegally, not even, yeah, so most of the time, not even asking. They're just scouring the internet for images, feeding it into the system. Somebody comes along, I want this drawn, and it will create it using all these other artists' work as the basis. It's not not appropriate way to do it at all, because you're doing off the backs of other artists. But then that's how it's created. So AI, it's not doing it out of scratch. It's doing it using loads of other pieces of work, willingly and unwillingly put in. And that's the other thing we need to be talking about, is it's a, you're literally stealing people's artwork. AI, especially AI artwork. So it infringes on me and John because we're artists. So we put in a lot of work. We went to art school, we went to art college to train. We've been drawing for many years. We've been perfecting our talent, and it's hard. It's hard to do, right? And we're learning every single day, and we draw every single day, but we're still trying to perfect it, and we're still trying to become stronger. That is a process. That's a long, hard process. We enjoy it. It's our passion. But then you get in people who have no interest in art, who are using AI, create work off the backs of us, off the backs of all the other artists, calling themselves artists, but they're literally just taking the work that other people have done.
It's fascinating, because if we go back to when we were at school, you had you'd have several people, wouldn't you, in a class who could draw quite well, and they'd sort of be heralded for it. It'd be that this guy or this girl can draw, and it gave you this certain clout, this low level clout. And then some people chose to pursue that and continue their art development. For me, it was interesting because I enjoyed drawing at school. Kind of lost interest in it just at the time when you really should be developing it if you want to get to that next level, when we were at uni and stuff. But then I think the art scene sort of reached this sort of pinnacle in terms of the ability to pass knowledge on, where suddenly, it was unless someone was very successful, you wouldn't know about them as a good artist. Everyone would just function in their little circles unless they became part of a big publication or something that got them out there in the world. But there was all these talented people just flying under the radar as hobbyists. And then as social media kicked in and the art platforms allowed people to just share their work and stuff, so much more knowledge emerged about the digital art scene. And of course, videos came up. Videos used to come up of work processes with like music playing in the background and speed painting. So it was still like a magical thing, like how does someone do that? And then over time, a sort of new era emerged where people were literally giving demonstrations, tutorials, sharing their art skills, and that
really
allowed so many people to like develop the craft. And for me, that was like a golden era where you could, because you still had to work really hard to learn it, but suddenly the information was all out there and everyone got good. Basically, to me, some people will disagree with this, but I think the digital artists of today are better than in any era since Renaissance art, just because of the ability to share skills. And of course, helped by technology. Low-level AI helps, just the way you can fill it, just from simple things to fill in an image to erasing things. It's all technology coming in, but the fundamental skill was always needed. The understanding of values, perspectives, all these things that take years and years and years to.
Yes, but it's the process and it's the process that we thrive in, and and that's as an artist, the learning process is very important. It's very crucial. Me and John have been drawing for many years.
It's no different. It's no different to someone who wants to know the inner workings of a car and how everything works. It's just a lifelong journey.
Exactly, and
I think that's what makes this crazy, right? That suddenly, in the one field that you thought was immune to sort of automation and AI, there's no way I could have even envisioned it 5 years ago. I'd be like, how is that? That's impossible. The nuance needed to create art just can't be matched. And now here we are in this crazy 1 year turnaround. It feels like, where
it's very
any
short.
style, any style, any lighting system, any perspective can now be matched instantly with AI.
And that's the thing. And there's no learning process involved anymore. Like we're still learning every day, and that we do enjoy it. We've been doing it for many years, but we're still learning every single day, new processes, new skills. As an artist, that's what you do. It's the learning process. All right. As anything you go into, any interest that you have, you learn, and then you are practical about it. uh, and it's a learning process. Goes with anything, writing, you know maths, English, science, whatever. It's the learning process. You are interested in it, you put your time and energy into it, you learn, you gain knowledge, you gain experience, and you put it into practice, and every day you're learning. That, I feel, has all been cut out completely now, where
Hmm.
anyone can just do it.
And how do you feel about that
And
on your
that is,
individual level?
yeah, and I exactly the same way as you. That is absolutely damaging, in the sense that there's no knowledge being gained, there's no experience being gained, there's no learning being gained, and there's no techniques being learned. And then obviously, as you said, to pass on the knowledge, as artists, we've all learned. As it's anything you do in any field, you are learning from past experts, right? Because the skills have been passed on generation. We've learned from past artists, you learned from past artists, all that. That process is eliminated. It's gone. All right. And I firmly believe that anyone can do art, anyone can draw, anyone can sculpt if you put the time and effort and energy into it. One of my favorite artists ever, Bob Ross, he was not an artist by trade. He was in the military. He was a teacher. He just learned. He went. He got tutored and mentored by an artist, and he learned. And he's one of the most famous artists in the world. But the learning process was there. The skills passed on, and the time and energy that we spend doing all this, it takes a long time, but it's very crucial, and it's enjoyable, and it's fun, and it's our passion, and we like it. I don't think you can create without having that part in there. If you're creating something or doing something, you need to have that element of learning, experience, knowledge, passing on the skills, and perfecting. That needs to be in there. Otherwise, you're not really. It's like it's a scam. Like you're a con artist. Really, you're not really doing it. You're like you're like taking you're taking other people's work, fobbing it off as your own, which in the sense is what the AI is. So nowadays, anyone can produce AI art. They're not putting any skill, effort, time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears into it, and they're producing stuff that is leagues ahead of anything that you've seen. And obviously, that product that's been created, it's not from them. It's been taken from all these other artists who have put in that time and the effort in to do it. I think
Mm.
that is an absolute travesty, and it's completely damaging. And I think it's doing more damage than it's worth. And now everyone is jumping onto this bandwagon. Everyone is calling themselves an artist using this technology. Now, this technology is super powerful. If you don't know, if you go onto Instagram or social media, Twitter, and you're looking at art, it's getting so good that sometimes you can't even tell what's AI or not. Now, originally, when it first came out, like last year, maybe year before, you could tell when something was AI generated. All right, it looked dodgy, it looked off. The faces, the body, things didn't match. The hands was one of the things that really gave it away, because the AI technology, they can't do hands properly, so the fingers and the way it's rendered is not done. So you could tell something was off. It looks too digital. It looks too clean. It doesn't match. But if you look at it now, and as John said, in the space of a year, it's advanced to such an extent where you can look at stuff. And even me, I was telling John, oh, I can spot AI, but even I get fooled sometimes now. That's how good it is, and it's everywhere now, and you probably see it, and you probably wouldn't even realize that it's made this literally on a computer, where the computer has been databases have been fed with millions of different artworks, and it's just randomly created something. And all you do is put in a couple of things on your search bar. I want a dinosaur at a tea party. Boom, it will do it. All right, and these are off the shelf apps that you can do. They're everywhere. Right, you go into TikTok, Instagram, they are advertising these left, right, and center. Anyone can do it, and all it is you type in stuff and it creates it, and it's everywhere now. And so all these people are just jumping onto that, making their own stuff, making it, and the thing is, it's not just, oh, originally it started off as, oh yeah, I want you put a picture of yourself in, and you want to be a boxer or a bodybuilder, or you want to be in Star Wars, and the AI would just get your picture and create an image of you in Star Wars, or as a superhero, and people did it for fun, as a joke, like these, like it's a trend, like the hashtag, make yourself as a superhero kind of thing. But now it's kind of turned into something more sinister, as it's not really for fun anymore now. There's a dog barking in the background, John, somewhere. I can tell it to shush. um, can you still hear me, John?
You can use AI to
Yeah, you
get
can
rid
use
of
that.
that.
That's it. But now it's like, I think it's not for fun anymore. People doing it. It's like, oh yeah, look at this. I can just type this in and I can create this picture. Amazing. Hey, good. Thumbs up. But I think it's taken an even more sinister turn now, as everyone's doing it now for clout and money chasing. And I think that's what's driven the explosion more. Would you agree that it's blown up because everyone's trying to make money off it right now?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different levels it works on. I hear people who always argue, yeah, but I create for me. There's nothing. I'm always going to want to do that, and that's absolutely true. People will always learn and want to create. The issue for me is when you take this beyond the hobby, which, let's be honest, if you want to create more art and do more art, you're going to need to factor it into your life and make money off it. Now, for me, the issue now becomes this thing you have to wrestle with of, well, what's the point? If I can, anything I do now can be done in this process and save me hundreds of hours, then why wouldn't I do it? And I think that's something that this current crop of artists will already be wrestling with. When they're working away, enjoying their skills, their level that they've got to, they know in the back of their mind, I know in the back of my mind, and I feel it, that either very soon or right now, this can be done by someone else at the click of a button. And that is very irking. And that
And
sends
that's
a,
taken away from, yeah.
it
It takes
shivers
away.
around, that sends a shiver down your spine. It's because it can be done another way, and that instantly changes the process. And that's for people who are skilled and defiant and are still like, no, I still, because those people can still see the weaknesses in the AI and still know it's not quite there yet. It can't quite do what you want. You've still got some control over shaping a product, which the AI can't quite match yet,
Yeah,
except for very skilled people who I'll talk about later that are starting to combine it very well.
yeah.
My big fear is the next crop of people behind who really will have to think to themselves, is this what I want to do? Because by the time they get into any position to start doing paid work, be it in games, art, design, the AI element is going to be huge, and it's going to be more about who has mastery over the AI, who has access to the tools, who understands how to manipulate these tools to get the best results. It's going to really change how people work.
No,
And
true.
the ability to type in words is going to trump the skill of the hand-eye coordination to create lines and images.
And I
And
think
that's
that, yeah,
crazy.
I think definitely as artists, and I've known this from day one, it's a risky industry to get into because it's very competitive, it's oversaturated based on your skill, and money was always an issue, right? You can ask any artist, right? It's not going to be steady income, and the income is not always great. So as going into the field, and I remember when I first wanted to go to art college, my dad was like, "Are you sure? Because it's not going to pay well." And that every artist in the whole planet and the history of time will can probably attest to that. We didn't do it for the money. We did it for the passion. We knew very well the money wasn't great. We did it because we enjoyed it. But now, obviously, with the AI coming in and people can whip things out quick time, and it is taken away from the actual proper artists who are putting time in. It's taken away from our livelihoods and our income because people can knock stuff out. And when it comes to job prospects as well, you know, companies, they want some quick turnaround, they want a product done quick. People are whacking it out in AI, right? And then rather than putting time and effort into drawing something from a proper artist, that they're doing this, they're mastering that field of it. And it's yeah, it's taken away work from proper artists, and
But
yeah, and it's
you can
worrying.
times your output though by 1,000% now. So in one way, this is like a golden era for artists because it's not quite at its peak, but you can supercharge your workflow right now. I think there'll be a very small window where certain people will really benefit off this that are quite skilled in art, because if you use it well, you can really increase your output.
So
But
as
I
a
think
yeah,
that window is very small.
as a yeah, no, 100%. As a tool, you'll have to utilize it in the best way, and if you're clever about it, like you said, you work with it, right? As an artist, you work with it because we have, you can use it in a positive manner, when used sparingly and being very clever about it. So yeah, you are right. As artists now, we need to work with it to produce more, to use it in a way that's going to help our artwork, not losing our skills and techniques and everything we've learned, but working with it. But then again, it's very oversaturated, over competitive, and you've got a whole influx of people who just know how to do stuff with AI coming in. John, I'm going to pose you to this question, right? So obviously when we draw something, we and create something, we from start to finish, all right, from the doodle phase to the design phase to the sketch phase to the proper drawing, lines, inking, coloring, refining, editing, all that stuff we do, right? So you get a lot of these AI experts now who put something in the computer, type something in, the computer creates it for them. Now
Yeah.
they find themselves, they say, hold on, well, I am also an artist. Why? Because they said, because the AI produced picture isn't 100%, they go away and look at tips and strategies of how to refine and edit that drawing. So you get a lot of
Yeah.
people out there that learn the bare minimum of how to blend in, or the image that's been created, of how to edit the hands, of how to do basic editing to refine that picture to make it better. They actually call themselves artists because they said, well, look, I've had to learn how to do this. The computer does 99% of the work. I come in, blend it in, fix the hands, fix the eyes, do a little bit of coloring here and there to perfect it. They actually call themselves artists. Would you agree that they are artists, to say that they've done the bare minimum?
I think it's irrelevant. For me, it's an image is made and then people like it or they don't, and that's going to be the end result. The whole process ends up with an image, so it's kind of irrelevant if that, because 90% of people do not care. It's reassuring for a traditional artist to see that and see the flaws, the minute flaws, and be like, yeah, but that person didn't fully create that. However, the end result is the same. If nice images start to emerge and continue to get refined, then in the end, in the eyes of the audience and the beholder, that's all you're going to see.
So
So
in the eyes of the
I
eyes,
think the whole art form will be diminished eventually,
so the eyes of the
because
audience,
you won't
obviously,
know what is AI and what isn't.
yeah.
I laugh at, there's so many videos coming up of artists that do that process. They generate an AI image. The video is about an hour long, right? And I'm like, oh, this will be interesting. Let me see what someone can do with an AI image that is also like a skilled Photoshop user for the last 15 years or whatever. And they're literally doing the like absolute bare minimum. They still have no control over the image. It takes them about an hour to get the image they want. It's an interesting process. But I was like reassured. I was looking for some. Is there things I'm missing here where you can really start to get control over your image? And there's not too much you can do with it. It's kind of like photo bashing over a photo. Nothing that blows your mind. And you see the end result from the AI image to the artist touch up. And I'm like, yeah, it looks a bit better, but the control wasn't there in the first place.
Yeah, because
That's a reassuring thing.
yeah, it hasn't
But
been created from them, and all they've done is
yeah,
taken an image, someone else's images, might I add, not their own, and then all they're doing is editing it, which is, I wouldn't be calling them artists. They're still,
yeah,
at least with a photographer, they create the
They
image
are an
maker.
artist because they learned those skills before the AI came along, and now they're integrating the AI. That's essentially what they're doing. If you know how to do that level of touch up, then you're not a complete newcomer, if you see what I mean. The problem is the AI tools are constantly being developed to lower that barrier constantly.
So
Like
that
they
becomes
really,
less and less. Yeah, their
like
work
let's
becomes less and less.
lasso around the hand and it will try and fix the hand. Lasso around the eye, it will start to refine the eye. You'll get It's going to get better and better, and it's crazy. If there was just one tool that we could all see and monitor, it would be okay. But the way this whole thing is blowing up, like with an arms race to get software out there, it's incredible. You know, everyone's involved. Adobe are involved. They're all going to try and outdo each other. The growth is incredible. There's tools. It's not just banging out an image. There's things like now where you can just upload a doodle or you could upload. Me and you we always used to hate coloring our images, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
This is the other element
Yeah,
to it.
yeah.
Yet we knew to learn to fully render is a whole new skill set. Fun to learn, but very frustrating, right? Along the way.
Mm-hmm.
To now know you can scan in an image that you've done, like a line work. For example, you're very good at line work. To now know you can hit a button and get a fantastically fully rendered image way higher than the level you currently are at with coloring. It's tempting, right? It's
Yeah.
if you run a business now where you make badges, you would think to yourself, I'll just do the line work and then hit a button and generate color maps and refine it that way. And it's going to be something we wrestle with more and more and more until the point where you're not doing anything.
So this is the thing. I think the issue is that, right, as me, as an artist, for me, I want full control of what I'm creating. All right. So I can't let a computer do half of it because I want full control of what it looks like from start to finish. Most people doing this AI, if not all of them, they don't care what the end product looks like as long as it looks something viable and complete. At the same time, audience is the big issue over here. Audiences don't care how it was created. Audiences don't care if that was the actual intention of your what you wanted it to look like. If it looks like a complete image and it looks fine, they're happy with it. All right. And then they'll lap it up. And I think that's the fundamental issue over here as well. If I'm drawing something, I have an image of my head of what I want it to look like, and I will strive blood, sweat, and tears to make it look like I have in my head of what I want to look like. AI people, they don't care. All right, they don't care what the final product looks like as long as it looks, it looks like a complete image. And then as soon as they got that and it's there, it's ready to sell off, ready for other people to lap up, ready for the attention. Attention means clicks. Clicks means money and ads. So yeah, it doesn't matter what it looks like at the end of it. And this is a real big issue because you've got a lot of companies out there in studios that just want, work done. They don't care if, if this is what the artists, what their intended creation was supposed to be like. They just want something that looks something like what they asked for, and that's it. Okay. And that's where AI is really excelling in that. It creates a product that is close enough to what people would like. And you got, companies and studios that, don't really have any artistic knowledge. They're saying, all right, we want a cat drinking a cup of tea. We don't care what it looks like. As long as it's a cat cup drinking a cup of tea, there's a million different ways you can draw that image and render it. As long as they don't care what it looks like. As long as it's a cat drinking a cup of tea, boom, we got it. Thank you very much. And that can be done in a matter of seconds. Whereas an artist would, with the space of a week, to do it properly, back and forth, design process. So yeah, you can instantly create something and boom. And yeah, the workflow increases, right? The time limits are eliminated, all right? And the products are just boom, 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 produced mass. And you can do it a million different ways. And all you do to change it here and there is to add a word or remove a word. It's crazy. And then you got people like us who are striving away from doing our own stuff, but then you got people just producing boom, 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 factory line, boom, 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 boom. In a million different ways you can do it. But it's not good, because if the process is flawed, the process is off the back of other people. I call AI work stolen artwork, plagiarized artwork, plagiarism software. That's what people call it, plagiarism software. Because you got to understand, it's not, if it was a computer creating it from scratch and drawing, fine. But remember, it's not doing that. All right. There are artists out there, well-known artists, all right, whose work you can instantly recognize. And when you see a piece of artwork, you can see, if you got the trained eye, hold on, this looks like this person's artwork. And those artists are like, treated really badly, and they're trying really hard to, like, stop using my work. I don't want my work to put into this stuff. But it's a hard game to control. You can't mandate it because there's so many people doing it. There's so many apps and software out there. It's very difficult to mandate, and that's one thing I don't like. It's like it's been created off the backs of other people. But like you said, audiences don't care. People don't care. I follow a ton of AI accounts, not because I like the work, because I'm looking at the engagement and I'm looking at the comments and I'm looking at what people are saying. And the majority of the comments were like, wow, amazing. This is great. Love it, love it, love it. No one is saying, hold on a second. This is problematic. Hold on a second. This is not cool. No, it's like, this looks great. Love it, love it, love it. Can I buy it? Can I buy a print? Can I buy a t-shirt of it? And all these AI accounts are just business people. They're not artists. They're just people making money. They're like, half of them are just businessmen who managed to find someone or themselves of how to create images, and boom. They're not artists. They put AI artist is in their description, but they're not artists. They're just business people. And you get a lot of people now every day jumping on that bandwagon. Every time you scroll TikTok, here's how to make 1,000. Here's how to make money doing this. Hey, you can make money this. Here's quick bucks to make this. Quick cash, do this, do this, do this. And I think that's the influx of, why, again, it's damaging, because anyone's doing this now. Everyone.
A whole skill set has been downgraded overnight, basically. Yeah. Interestingly, at the higher levels, you say there's no scrutiny, but it is interesting at the moment. I think there is a lot of scrutiny, a lot of AI right now. If literally, I've just read an article on Polygon about a company called Revolution that they've been around for years. They make the Broken Sword games. They've decided to up-res their first game, but they couldn't. They've got a small team now, so they upgraded it using AI.
Yeah.
They fed the whole game through, fed the art through, and then touched it up. It's the first thing the article wants to talk about. Not the fact that the team is relaunching the game. It's bang, AI, controversial, and it was it the Nick Fury TV show?
Yeah.
Uses a full AI credits.
And that's a Marvel. So this is the thing. Yeah, you've got a select amount of people who are against it and are vocal about it, like me and you, and like some news outlets. But I'm just saying, like, the common,
and it will go. The more it's adopted, the less it will be spoken about. This is basically the height of the rage against it, and then it will just seep into the workflow.
Yeah. Now, I'm happy there are people very vocal, and if you go on social media and you follow a lot of artists, and if you're in that artist industry and follow a lot, yes, that you of course will see loads of people saying this is why it's not good, why it's not great. Unfortunately, I think it's a minority. If you look at the bigger picture, there's a lot of people vocal about it, and very saying, but it gets drowned out by people saying, we don't care, this looks amazing, this looks great, shut up.
And remember, this is not just happening in art. This is going to happen across every industry simultaneously, just at slightly different speeds. It seems to me now that the audio seems to be actually overtaking the art in terms of the potential to put people out of work. The advancements been made in the audio realm are incredible, and you're seeing them now dominate YouTube. People are no longer using their own voice when they do content. They've realized they can feed a few seconds, or the more you feed in, the better, of their voice, and use AI to output it.
Exactly. This is the thing. We've just spoken about the art, but actually it's everywhere. And you can create anything with anything now. So we talked about
journalism, writing, medical, writing, everything,
reports. So even in industries where you have to write something, is it chat GPT can boom. If you're writing a CV or a letter, boom, 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 it'll do it. Audio, YouTube. I just sent John, was it last week? There's a YouTuber who's gone fully AI, which means his voice is computer generated, the editing is computer generated, the video footage is computer generated, the script is computer generated, and he's gone fully AI. His fans hated it. He doesn't care because his output is gone up because he can produce videos every single day without really doing much at all now. It's everywhere, shows, films, like you said, the Marvel TV show, the Secret Wars, the newest one, AI generated intro, and that is Marvel, Disney, a big company jumping onto that bandwagon now. Even the Spider-Verse movie, the recent one, it came out that they used AI to fill in a lot of stuff, frames and animation and stuff like that. They used it as a tool to get the output quicker. Some people might say, well, you know what, it's fine because they're using it to help rather than create from scratch. But unfortunately, you're getting fully fledged films out there, animated films that are AI generated right now, shorts, everything. Where does the line stop? Where does it end? Sometimes you can't tell. It's a blur, and unfortunately, it's everywhere. It seeps into everything. And even stuff like Adobe, which John uses, Photoshop, is using AI to fit, as a big tool now to completely finish the image off. And where does it stop?
I'm not doing that, but
You're not doing
I definitely play around with it to see where it's going to go. Adobe one is interesting because they had to use they had a limited stock basically of images that they could pull from.
Yeah.
Because they've done stuff that's come through basically things that they own. So it's quite interesting when you see the level of quality goes down substantially when you can't just rip from the internet. So they'll obviously be trying to find a way around that, and they're strengthening their AI in different ways. So the most powerful tools have they just scoured the net and took huge databases of images. Basically, they say they take everything, but it's so clear they don't. It's obviously filtered because only the best work is getting put into these images. If you take 5 billion images of all levels of quality, the AI would be a shambles. Yeah. So it's definitely curated. To me, it's a little bit. I'm trying to look. I can't cope with the day-to-day changes and all this, and I don't advise you go on looking at YouTube videos because it's crazy. It's just so disheartening. Oh my god, the clickbait. I used AI to do this. Use AI to supercharge, steal artwork. It's crazy. I try to look at the bigger picture, like 6 months' time, a year's time. I think it might go the way. I call this a golden era right now, and I called it a golden era because right now, small teams of people and individuals can make content to rival a big studio in a sense. Obviously, they don't quite have the manpower, but the access to tools right now is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And these AI tools are currently quite easy to access as well. It's confusing because they're all in beta form, and some of them are like tricky to install and get hold of, and there's subscription models. But for the most part, there's so many of them that you could go online today and get something, right, and practice some AI.
Download on your phone right now, an app.
Yeah, but when I was trying to break into the film industry, only the high-end companies could. Let's take compositing, for example. To do high-level compositing, you had to be in these big companies that had access to things like Nuke and Flame, just stuff you couldn't get on home systems. And that started to change, like probably 10 years later, where Adobe products and stuff like that had just leveled out the playing field. No, they weren't quite the same level, but they really had got close, and people were starting to make really good special effects from their bedrooms again. And obviously the indie game boom began. I think what will start to happen eventually is this AI will get much more paywalled. The best models will be siphoned off to like huge subscription models. So it will be like very much under the ownership of these companies rather than a big free for all. So this right now is probably the crazy cowboy Wild West gold rush for AI.
Yeah. 100% it's going to be mandated. 100% people, they're going to be controlled and paid. You have to pay for it. Subscription models. It's like with streaming and everything, that come out. but you're still going to get loads of people still trying to jump on it, and there's going to be loads of software still available. But I think, yeah, the best of the best, the big top tier models that are going to be producing, you know, high end stuff will be paid for. And unfortunately, I think everyone's going to be jumping on it now. Obviously, you worked in the film industry as well. You know that, you know, the deadlines are tight, the workload is a lot, and these days, you know, especially with John, obviously with creating, you know, indie games as well, which is again AI is seeping into. You have a lot of work to do in a short amount of time, and the team is, you know, not very big, you know, and you're human beings, but they're going to be using that to, you know, cut corners in a sense and create stuff. You know, like there's people losing jobs out there now to AI. You know, they don't need storyboard artists anymore because the AI can do it. You know, they don't need designers anymore because they can do it. So it does affect the job industry in the sense that the artists are just being, you know, let go, because actually, why do I need to you, an artist, to spend this amount of time doing that when I can boom get this computer thing to do it in quicker time than anything. So yeah, it's gonna be, yeah, it's already here, and it is affecting people. And unfortunately, it's like, it's quite bleak in the sense that, you know, kind of, where does it leave us as old school, old gen artists and creators? You know, we have to use it, but where does it leave us if these things can do it? You know, everything. Where does it leave us? Now, this is where I'm hoping the human spirit thrives and rebels, because, you know, you cannot underestimate, you know, the human touch. But as AI gets better and better, as I think I was talking about you yesterday, I think it's now being trained to make mistakes and flaws in the work, because it's so to make it look like a human did it.
Yeah, nuances, and this is why it's
Nuances,
so
yeah.
clever. It works things out. This is a totally different realm, but this whole AI girlfriend
Oh
lark,
yeah, that's another, yeah.
that even those models are now being trained to be like, go from stunning like visuals to like girl next door, guy next door types,
Yeah.
because they realize it's the nuance and the human touch that is
The
crucial.
human touch,
So
which
the
is,
fact these companies and development models are sophisticated enough to already be factoring this in, it shows you where we're going.
yeah. And it's going to be a world,
It's
computer generated
crazy.
world. And unfortunately, yeah, all these movies and shows we used to watch where the computer take over, it's happening. Terminator, Matrix, all this stuff, it's seeping into our world. And yeah, it's, you know, like, you know, yeah, girlfriends or something else, you know. And
Yeah, I don't think it won't be like as dramatic as these, like, you know, those are like very Terminator, Matrix, just generic like ways this could go. But for me,
it was
I'm
foreseeable,
much
yeah.
more interested in the low level. Look, I believe this world is already going through a global depression of where people don't have a sense of purpose. They feel a lot more disconnect than ever, especially in the developed world. I think you're not interacting with things in the same way. The and to now have your purpose and goals whittled down and automated is going to have a very interesting effect on
Exactly, yeah.
society.
This
Um,
the influx of it, yeah, technology
Great
is
things could
crazy.
emerge. Like imagine AI in 10 years. What in the right hands could be like really fascinating. But I think before we can get to that, we're going to have one of the most like awkward times in
Oh
modern
yeah,
history.
it's a battle, and but it's a free for all right now, and it's chaos out there. And
And don't you think, Chaitaku, that right now we look, jobs, everyone's on strike, right? So jobs are not paying enough. So, but this world is different because now you have this world where there's other options. There's passive income is now such a generalized term. I don't know anyone who doesn't consider trying to make it in some way. And with that, passive income is all about not working and doing things as quickly as possible. So we live in a world right now where more and more is being championed of the quick fix, the so-called expert in a minute. Some people are preaching how to do things online and trying to teach you without any expertise in the subject themselves. It's just the quickest way to do something. That's been championed. That's been instilled into the low generations. When we were young, we were already a spoilt generation. It was all about still you need to work hard to get anywhere. Now it's the mentality being instilled into people. And to be honest, not without good reason, because working hard doesn't actually get you that far if it's not going in the right places now. So it's about how can you do this as quickly as possible to get as much money as possible. It's been instilled into people, it's been championed, it's what everyone is aiming for. Look at the influencer scene. It's a joke. I've just seen the influencer scene has now taken over the fight world. One of the hardest crafts there is to work your way up through ranks in fighting. And it's just been demolished by influencers getting involved. The lowest work possible. They have, but these people have really learned how to like get views and stuff like that. And it's not about hard work. It's about
I think so.
how to do something quickest track to the top possible. And this is happening everywhere. It's been championed. The 5-year-olds now, this will literally be ingrained into them, and that's where we're heading. And then you start to think, in 15 years' time, where are the skills going to be? Who's going to be an expert? Where is loads of knowledge going to be lost in so many fields? Audio, visual, dentistry, doctoring, anything where there is now a fast track through.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all about the quick fix and the quick cash, and everyone wants to make money, and why not? Because the world at the moment is absolutely, economy is awful, so everyone needs to try to make money. Cost of living, all this kind of stuff, you need to make money. So I
would say for the people who, because the other side of the argument is there's a lot of people out there who have so much going through their head, and they might be good at coming up with ideas, but they're not good at art. But art is a huge factor of the product they want to push. This is like a wonderful time for them, just for now, because they really can do something now without relying on other people, without trying to get other people involved. And you can, a one-man team right now, in theory, can now use AI to assist them in every step and come up with a product they could only dream of. I think that window will narrow, but that's the flip side of all this. It's crazy because there's more opportunity than ever. I feel we've been stifled more than ever, and that's what I personally wrestle with when I think about this.
Anyone can jump on it right now, anyone, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes. At the end of the day, the work created from the AI software is only as good as the work that's been put into it. So you can see right at the moment a little bit like it's starting to look all samey out there when it's AI generated stuff, because it's regurgitated, and what goes back in is it's the cycle. Like AI produced work that's been fed in back into it again, it goes back in. You're going to have humans to create the original work to be putting in there, to create it, to keep making it fresh and stuff. But who knows? But at the moment, it's regurgitating, and it starts to look a little bit samey. But who knows where it's going to be headed? But I think the most important thing is it's here and it's here to stay, and you just have to work with it, utilize it in the best way possible. Now, this is not the first of many conversations that me and John have had. We've been talking about this for a long time. But I think it's really good that finally we're chatting about it on here. And even the talks we used to have before were very different than what we're having right now. I think before it was very anger based, like what is this for? I can see now that, hold on, it's more balanced now. Like, okay, look,
I think it was just a shock, right? It was the one thing you never just considered could be replaced. It just didn't seem to be something that would happen, and it was to see of all the industries to see the art one suddenly fall victim to this before anything else. Even before, really, not only a few months difference, but between the writing aspect, was crazy.
Yeah, it was a huge shock.
So had to come to terms with that. Many people just were in denial. The amount of people I argued with that just thought they were better than this AI. I was like, you're crazy.
Some people are still oblivious to it as well. Like, actually, what was here is like we've accepted it.
And that's an interesting thing. Apparently 80% of the population do not even know what it is yet. Despite all using it.
Yeah, exactly. They've had it probably in front of their faces and they wouldn't even know. And that's what I'm saying. Unfortunately, a large consensus of the general population don't know, don't care, or whatever, isn't it? And they've had it in front of them. That's what I look at the comments on AI generated artwork. It's just, yeah, this is great. This is great. And I'm like, but you do not understand, like, how it's been created and stuff. It's like, it's here, and it's everywhere. And it's not even a small thing now. It's huge, and it's seeping into everything. And like I said, in it, you'll be seeing movies. You'll see in video games. You'll see everyday jobs that you do. Boom, boom, boom. The computer will take care of it. Even in doesn't have to be art. It can be your day-to-day 9 to 5 office job. Suddenly you will find yourself out of a role because the computer's been taken over doing it. So it's nuts. It's just it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And it still amazes me just how quickly it's moving. It's frightening in a way as well, just how sophisticated it gets every single day. Now, we and John spoke about it last year. We had different conversations. Even now, things have changed drastically. Even in the space of a few months, a few weeks, a couple of days, things are changing. So
yeah, people compare it to other like huge shifts that we've had, like
yeah,
printing press suddenly put automated writing to some extent.
yeah. It's that
Um,
big. It's that big.
I think the difference with this one is the exponential growth that it can do by itself. So it's like an acceleration. So you don't have time to come to terms with it before it's moved on, and that's something that's never happened before in history.
Yeah,
When we invented the wheel, that it got developed over time and spread throughout the world over time, years, decades, millennia to refine. Yet this will can shift within a week
yeah. It's a long time coming. Like
and by itself,
years.
and no
Yeah,
one quite knows what it's doing behind the
yeah.
scenes.
Yeah, because years ago, I used to see bits and bobs, isn't it? So behind the scenes, it's been doing it. But I think just how quickly it's blown up and how quickly then it's just moved forwards in the space of a very
Yeah.
short
So
year.
behind the
That's
scenes,
yeah,
many years were put into it, and then
yeah,
it was the moment they decided to make it open source and basically put their model to the test and
yeah,
let it do its thing. That this huge growth has happened.
yeah. And it just came it's a perfect storm. It came at a time where you know your social media influencers, quick cash is just at the height of boom. Of course, it's going to come out at this time, and people are going to jump on it, just like everything else. Uh, you know, um, perfect storm, perfect storm for it, and everyone's jumping on it. Um, Unfortunately, this one is not a fad like what was it, NFTs or whatever, which was something dangerous when it came out, but boom, it's disappeared. But this one's here to stay, and it's and and it's evolving rapidly, and it's very important to talk about it, to know and be aware to where it's going and what it could do. But that's why I had to have this talk, because it's just here. It's here to stay. It's not going away. It's never going away. As much as I'd like it to, no, it's here because it's got its benefits as well, like in the like hospitals and NHS and all this using yeah, that's cool. It's got its benefits, but the dark side of it, the flip side is um yeah, it can be very dangerous. um and yeah, very very real human lives at stake here, our livelihoods, our jobs, um and it's just where creativity is heading. Like if AI takes over, it's just not going to be. I think the other day I read a script, or there was a script going around that was generated by AI, like for a film, and it was just everything you've seen before, and I was like, of course it's going to be that, because it's just regurgitated stuff that we've all seen. But if that's where creativity is heading, the AI stuff, it's not going to be very inspired. Yeah, it might look cool, but it's not going to be very inspired, because it's just what we've already seen. That's what it is. It's a mishmash of everything that's already out there, and
Mm.
it's not going to be something new. It's going to be something we've already seen, and there's no freshness. There's, I don't know. Keep an eye on it, which we will do. anyway. But anything else to say in this matter, John, before we wrap it up?
I just say, yeah, keep an eye on it. But for those people that are in the middle of the creative process or the creative journey, just you still keep doing what you're doing for
You're
now. It
gonna keep
can't.
doing it.
It
Yeah,
still
yeah,
can't. For me, my philosophy is until it can truly do what I want, I, I'm still better than it. As in my, I will still get a better result following my processes and my learning, and that's fun. It's in the back of my mind all the time. But right now, it's still not quite there. And what you need to do is just not go looking for it too much because you'll just find so much crap. But for everything I've found, I've never found something that was made me like at this moment in time, like, oh my God, that's what I need to do the result I want. So it's not quite there yet. The fear is there, the expectation is there. You need to be aware of it, especially if you want to use it professionally and get into these industries. But for now, there's still something to be said for learning
yeah.
in whatever field you're doing, and just
Definitely.
make sure you just don't get totally overwhelmed and waste
No.
hours and
Yeah.
hours looking at this stuff, because that's
Yeah.
what the main thing that is happening is we are all just scrolling through social media looking at crap.
Yeah. Definitely. 100%. Don't be disheartened. Keep doing it. Keep creating it. Um, keep doing what you want to do. Don't it's because I think it's easy to get disheartened by it because I was like, oh my gosh, why bother when these things are so leagues ahead of what I'm doing and I can't even
Yeah,
draw hands
and
properly.
I only like there are still so many artists I follow, and if my favorite ones, when there's a new image, I'm instantly like drawn to it. I'm like, oh, that's nice. They've done another image.
Mm,
There is no. There's one. I'm not even going to name drop them for now. There's one AI channel that I follow with interest that I'm like genuinely impressed by their images and think they're doing something quite unique there, and that's probably one out of the other thousand
yeah, yeah,
things that I
yeah,
would like are still human made. Uh, However, that one does exist, and that shows you what is going to happen.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
for now, you live. Life changes every few years anyway. So we had a golden era. Like it's just like what I say with indie games. There's a golden era. It will go away. You got to enjoy it while it's here. I never thought maybe the digital art world would like implode. But
Yeah,
nothing lasts forever. Things shift and change, and you
yeah,
just have to accept that.
yeah, yeah, exactly, and keep an eye on it, but and see where it heads. But yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Don't be disheartened. I was feeling that at one point, but it's like no, because I enjoy it, and that's the process, and that's creativity. You do what you love to do, so keep doing it. Um, and
I think
remember, without
a big challenge will be going forward how to make, and this is for all media, all content, how to make something now stand out from the norm, because
Mm,
the saturation, oversaturation in every media is going to just rise a thousandfold. So the big challenge really will be now how to stand out, how to do something. But that is the challenge. That's what
yeah,
you want to strive for.
exactly. And yeah, just keep doing it because you like to do it as well. But be aware of it as well. But yeah, definitely good points there. Thank you very much for that, Jordan. And obviously, this is we're going to come back to this topic as the AI is ever changing, ever shifting. So it's going to be the
Yeah,
first of many. But
we'll address it again before the end of the year and
you'll
see where we're at.
definitely, yeah,
As unlike other things, this really does move fast.
yeah, it does. And there's loads of other stuff that we didn't really talk about because it seeps into so many things. But especially with the indie game thing, I would like to talk about because obviously that is John's other a hobby role job as well. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on it and see. But very interesting topic to talk about. Thank you very much for joining us, John, for this. Really good. Please do let us know how you felt about today's episode. It's obviously a tester, midnight. I can't remember what I call it now. After hours, midnight tea. So if you enjoyed this and are interested, please do let me know, and we can chat some more about different types of topics that are off the usual, but it still affects the entertainment industry. That's why I thought it was very relevant still. All right, so um, it all links in. And it's important to discuss it. Thank you very much for this, John. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for putting the time in today.
Thanks for having me.
And please do follow John on Barracuda Egg on Instagram, Cloak and Dagger as well. Send him some best good get well soon wishes if you can. I'm sure he'll be feeling better in no time. Thank you very much. Please do comment as well and let me know. But thank you very much for listening, everyone. I'll try and put this one up on YouTube as well, so we can start shifting towards that too. But let's see how it goes. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. You can like and comment on Chaitaku Cast on Instagram. And you can also search up Chaitaku on YouTube. And hopefully by this point, we'll have my chat about DC movies up on there. So you can like and comment too. Awesome. Thank you very much, John. And thank you very much for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.